Thank you everyone for joining me today. I think Kathleen is going to jump on a little bit later, but this training is going to be centered around creating an opportunity in Command, and then drafting contracts in ZipForm, sending them through DocuSign, and then uploading those signed completed forms into Command, into that opportunity to submit for compliance review. And I'm going to go through a lot of the different aspects of the opportunity where you enter in all of the detailed information for that transaction, the documents tab, some different things that are in there. And then I'll also go through how you add your accepted offer and how you can go in and manage your commission request to eventually get paid. So really important stuff that you'll want to learn and kind of have a good handle on how to do. And if you guys want to go through and kind of open up Command as I'm talking and as I'm going through this, I highly encourage you to. The best way to learn this is to practice it yourself. We always say practice on yourself or practice on a family member, a friend, before you practice on your client. So again, highly encourage you to do that. This is being recorded and uploaded to YouTube after. I think the last one that we did was about 6 months ago. So very similar training video that's already available as well. But I will go ahead and jump right into it. So 1 second while I share my screen. I'm gonna pull up my Command account. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let me just move my Zoom toolbar here. It's always the annoying little piece of it there. Okay. So I'm in Command right now, and you'll notice I'm in the opportunities section. So if I click on the red box, you'll see opportunities right there in the middle. It's indicated by that handshake icon. So here's my opportunities section here. And you'll notice if you happen to be on a team, you will have an additional tab here. But for this training, I'm just going to focus on my personal pipeline. But this screen, the way that it's set up is you have your listings and your buyers, your pipeline here. If you do any leases, you also have that available as well. But it's a way for you to track your deals and any potential transactions that you have coming down maybe months out. And so here you have 5 phases. So you have cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. It's really going to allow you to track every transaction from lead to closed. So you can see, okay, I've got 2 listings in cultivate. These are people that I need to really stay in communication with to get to the appointment phase. And then of course, active, meaning I've got that signed listing contract, or I've got that signed buyer agency, and we're putting that listing in motion, or we're going out on showings with that buyer. And of course, under contract and closed. So it really allows you to track every single transaction. So to get started, I'm going to click on create opportunity. And I'm just going to fill out some of the basic details about that transaction. So first things first, opportunity type. Don't worry about market center. That's always going to stay the same. Just going to recognize what market center you're out of. And then I'm going to choose my opportunity type. In this case, I'm going to choose buyer. And then you should be listed as the owner. If you are not listed as the owner, it's probably because you're on a team and the rainmaker is going to show there. Then the client. So
hey, Lindsay, sorry,
yeah.
quick question while you're going through it. And I'm sorry, I didn't know if you wanted to hold questions until the end or if you want us to jump in as you're going.
No, totally fine. If you have a question, feel free to interrupt and ask away.
So if we are on a team and first question, are we able to create opportunities for other people on the team? And if so, I would assume we would just select them as the owner then?
So the owner is always going to be the rainmaker on the team. But
okay.
If you are adding an opportunity for a team member in the team pipeline, you're going to have an additional field at the bottom with assignees.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and that's something too that will really go through training with you guys. And Kathleen will really focus on in terms of like the team functionality and command. But
Perfect.
yes, absolutely. You'll have access as like the Rainmaker will have access, and then anyone that's part of the opportunity or that transaction would be added as an assignee.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll turn my video on so you're not the only one on video here.
All right. Okay, and then here is where you're going to enter your client's information. So I'm going to use a fake contact here because if I use someone real, that YouTube is not going to let me upload this video. So I'm a huge Friends fan, so I'm going to add Rachel Green into my, I'm going to help her buy a home. You can also, you'll notice if, let's say that contact isn't uploaded into your database, if you just start typing in somebody, like you can go in and hit create new contact. So that's going to allow you to add their email and their phone number right away. So that's a really nice feature. You can create an opportunity, and if you have forgotten to add them into your database, no worries, you can do it right in here. Okay, so I'm just going to add my contact again. There she is. If you have a co-buyer or co-seller, you can add them in here as well. You'll notice that the opportunity name automatically gets added based on the client's name and the type of opportunity. So I've got right here, Rachel Green -buyer. You can rename this if you'd like. I would just make sure that, let's say this is a listing opportunity, you'd want to have that property address in there. And then for a buyer, once you get that accepted offer, go in to edit the details and edit the opportunity name to include that property address. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as is. You can add custom tags in here for your transactions, for your opportunities, very similar to how you can do it for contacts. One example is, let's say that you work with an investor client a lot, and you want to just add in like investor. So you can go ahead and create that custom tag. And maybe at the end of the year, you want to filter by that tag to see how many deals you did with that certain investor. So a lot of different ways that you can go in there and add custom tags. Really helps you kind of organize and add some more information in there for the opportunity.
Hey, Lindsey.
Yeah.
Sorry, quick question. Do you guys have any like general rules of thumb in terms of like, because I guess my fear would be, having worked in other CRMs before, right? Like getting too many tags in there just makes it absolutely useless. So like, do you have like a rule of thumb of like when it's a good time to tag something versus not?
It's totally up to you. I would say there has to be a purpose to the tag. Don't just add a tag just to add something. That's where, like, okay, if you really want to track certain deals, then think of how you're tagging, like the example that I just gave. Like if you want to know exactly how many deals you've done with a certain investor client, then have those tags set up in order to do so. You know, these are not required. Like you don't have to use custom tags for your opportunities.
Like another custom tag I like for opportunities is a referral tag. If I know I have to pay out a referral, because what if they sent me that referral 2 years ago and we're just now getting to the closing table? At least having that tag on there is just a quick reminder, like, oh, you're going to have to pay out money. And so I can go and do that process.
Yeah, got it. Makes sense. Thanks.
Good example. Okay, and then we've got some other fields here. So estimated close date, time frame, budget. You'll notice that these are not required fields. So, you know, if you're just starting to work with this buyer, you're not going to have an estimated close date yet. If you want to enter in their time frame, maybe they say, okay, they're looking to move in the next 3 months. You can add that in there. Their budget. So maybe you want to add that as well. Again, these are not required, but just more information that you can add. And then you do have to enter the commission rate. So for a buyer, I'll put 2.4. And then the very last two fields here, you've got opportunity phase and opportunity stage. So this is going to indicate where you are at within that transaction. So for the phase, let's say, you know, maybe you just met this person. you're just, you just sat down for a buyer consultation, and maybe you're at just that appointment phase, or maybe, okay, you met someone at an open house and bam, they sign that buyer agency right away. Then they're active, and then you're going out on showings. The stage is going to pertain to that phase. So if they're active, I can then go in and say, okay, we're just showing homes right now. You'll notice that you don't have the option to create an opportunity and put them under contract or closed right away. The idea is that you're adding or you're creating this opportunity prior to getting an accepted offer. So really keep that in mind. And it's a way to keep you organized when you're dealing with your transactions and your clients. Okay, so I'll go ahead and leave them in active and showings. And then let me move my Zoom toolbar, and then you'll hit create. So that's going to load, and now you've created that opportunity, and it's going to jump you right into your detail section of that opportunity. So you've got a few different sections here. You've got key information, and you'll notice that some of that's already been added in here. And keep in mind, you can edit this at any time. I know it's really discreet, but you've got this little pencil icon. So if you hover over that, you can click on it, and then you can edit some of this information. So for example, like once you get that AO, you can go in here and change the opportunity name. Let's just say it's 123 Main Street is the property address. So you could add something like that. You can always go back in and add custom tags. You can add in some of those dates. So let's just say, my appointment was on June 1st, or we scheduled it June 1st, and maybe we met on June 2nd. Contract date, maybe June 30th, really quick. And you can kind of change all of these. You can even add in the inspection date, appraisal date, all of that. So then you just hit save if you make any edits. You can also add in the property information. So once you get that accepted offer again, add in that property info, more key dates. It's all kind of listed and grouped together. There's also the new section here, which I mentioned on our team meeting earlier in the week. So parties to the transaction. This is where you can add in your vendor partners. So if you want to add in like the home warranty company or the mortgage company, title, anybody, you can go in here, and all you're going to do is you're going to select the vendor type. And let's just say it is title. And you can go in here and you can say, okay, here's the title company, and you're going to do create new. And you're going to add in some additional details here. So like the company name, focus title, office branch nickname. Again, I'm just going to put focus title. You can enter in their address. So you'd add in, I'll just add in the North Shore office for focus title. And you'll notice that it'll auto-populate, which is nice. You can add their phone number, their representative's name, their phone number, all of that. So I don't have their phone number off the top of my head, but you just click on add vendor, and that would add them into the opportunity there. And that's also going to be information that you can add to that transaction summary, which I'll show you in a little bit here. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to documents. I'm not going to really focus on buyer profile right now. That is going to be more so tied to your KW consumer app. So if this client has downloaded your KW consumer app, you'd be able to go in there and see if they've checked off any of like the buyer or seller guide steps. So that's really what that's about. So I'm going to click into documents now. And it's going to say to start work with opportunity, please select a checklist type. So over on the left-hand side, I'm going to click on pick checklist type. And this is where you're going to choose whether it's a buyer or a residential buyer, condo, vacant land, or if this is an outgoing referral. So then I'm going to choose residential buyer, and you'll notice that's going to populate all of the checklist types, or all of the checklist items, all of the documents that you're going to upload into this transaction. So you'll see over here, you've got 3 different folders. You've got consultation, which is going to include the buyer agency and some of those KW documents as well. If I click on under contract, that's going to be where I would upload the offer to purchase, any counter offers, the record, inspection report, the earnest money receipt, all of those documents. And then the closed folder, this one you don't have to worry about uploading anything. We do that for you. So once we get the closing paperwork and we've processed that on our end, we will upload that disbursement agreement and the closing statement for you. So just know once we process everything, that will get inputted in here so that you can always refer back to it. So I'm going to click back into the consultation folder. And so this is going to be where you can drag and drop your files or hit browse and grab those completed signed files from your computer. Kathleen, did you want to go through ZipForm?
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
So I'm going to stop my share. We're going to come back to this page, but I'm going to stop my share so that Kathleen can share her screen and go through ZipForm a little bit. So, because at this point, once you have the opportunity created, now you're going to want to actually start drafting your contracts, send them per signature so that when they are completed, ready to go, you can go back into the opportunity and upload them. So Kathleen, take it away.
Okay, you guys can see my ZipForms, right?
I can see it.
Okay, perfect. So when you first log into ZipForms, you're going to come into this transaction page. From here, you can see all the transactions that you might be working on. I think the best rule of thumb is 1 transaction per client per side. So if you do have somebody who's listing and buying with you, you would have a listing folder for them with other listing documents, then you would have another transaction for the buy side. If you're working with buyers and you're writing several offers on several different properties, I would keep that all still in 1 transaction. And I'll talk you through a little bit of this here as well. So you want to create a new transaction. So at the very top left-hand side, you'll see a button that says new. Click on that. It's going to ask you, what are we writing, a listing or an offer to purchase? So we'll just select the offer to purchase. And then we get into the transaction information. So you do need a name. Now just know that whatever you type in this name box is going to print on the bottom of your documents, okay? So if you're writing offers to purchase, you're working with clients, I usually just use their last name, something like that, just so that, I know what the documents are that are going to be in that folder, but then it's, just that's what's printed on the bottom of the documents. Then the next thing you need to choose is a category. So most likely you're going to be using residential. There's also options for like condominiums. Active, we want this transaction to be active so that we can work through it. And then templates. This is one of the most important pieces for you. Is when you set up your ZipForms transaction, apply one of these global templates that we have. These will pull in all the documents you may need from the WRA library and from our own KW library. So instead of you having to go and find each individual form that you need, they're going to be all right here for you. So I'm going to select the global residential offer packet and then hit save. Now just know that depending on which market center you're in, some of these documents are going to be a little bit differently. Each office has like their own disclosure documents that are a little different. So just be aware of that as well. Okay. Then it's going to bring us to the summary tab right here. You can fill this out if you would like. This will help you pre-populate some of the information into the offer for you. Otherwise, you can just go straight over to documents. So because we applied that global template, it grabbed all of the documents from WRA that we might need. Now, you don't necessarily have to use all of these documents, but they're here for your reference. So the first one you're going to see is that buyer agency agreement. If your customer does not want to sign a buyer agency agreement to become a client, then you can also use the disclosure to customers form. So we provided that right in there for you. You have your offer to purchase. We have some GMAR forms if you're part of the GMAR association. There's a blank notice, a blank amendment, a blank counteroffer that you can use. So you don't have to go fishing for those if you need it during the transaction. You'll also see that you have your office specific disclosure agreements that you need to have your customers read and sign. Home warranty information for whichever home warranty is part of your market center, things like that. So again, you might not need all of these documents each transaction, but they're here for you in case you need them. If there's a document that you need that's not part of this, you can easily go find it by clicking on this Add Documents, which will bring up this option. So if it's a document that you have saved on your computer, you can click here. Otherwise, most likely you're looking for like some WRA form and you would click Add Form. This then brings you into the forms library. Okay, so we have both the WRA library, and if you click on that, you'll have access to your own office's library of documents as well. So there's some specific title documents that might be in there, the referral form if you need to sign a referral agreement. Otherwise, you know, most everything is going to be in the WRA library for you. Okay. So when you're ready to fill out a contract, you can just click one to open it. I'm going to start with the buyer agency agreement. If you have a newer account, you don't get this option. If you have an older account, you do. Please always use the new form editor. Okay, so I'm going to open this in the new editor. I'm going to pause for the internet. Okay, so this is the new editor. So we can come in here and we can fill this out. Anything that is like this bluish grayish line is a fillable text box. So, you know, up to $450,000, right, in the purchase price, et cetera, et cetera. So you can go through here, fill out all of your documents that you need. If you need to do a strikeout, there is these tools on the right-hand side. Under tools, you'll find strike through. And then you can just click, oh, sorry. You want to click and hold and move your mouse at the same time to strike through. Okay. So then I'm going to pretend like this buyer agency agreement is completely ready for me to go ahead and send to my buyers. I can click on prepare signing up here on the top right. And the preference is that you use DocuSign. I honestly think it's the easiest platform to use for e-signatures. If you're ever having trouble with DocuSign, know that you can also use this AuthentiSign. I just prefer DocuSign. Any questions so far?
I like the global templates. It's nice and easy. You can just pull everything in there right out of the gate.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you never have to worry about, you know, if a form gets updated, we take care of that on our end to make sure that that new form is loaded and fillable as well.
Okay, so when you hit start signing, the first step here in the creating like the signature envelope is to name it and select which documents you want. So it always defaults to like e-sign packet 1, but honestly, if you look back on it in a week, are you going to remember what's in there? So you can rename this to what's in the packet. Now you can put more than one document in this packet. So it might be offer to purchase 123 Main Street. So if you are going to be working with buyers and you're going to be sending them multiple different offers on different properties, I would be specific in the packet name to which property it pertains to. Okay. Again, we're going to use DocuSign. You can change this here as well. And then you can add the documents. So since I was on the buyer agency agreement, that one automatically pulled through, but I can always click on the select documents to include. And these are all the other documents that are in that ZipForm transaction right now. So if I had the offer to purchase completed, I could add that as well, all in here in one signature packet to them. Okay, so you don't have to send them 15 different documents to sign. It'll all come over as like one large document. And then you just click next. So the next page, we have to enter in our party information, okay? And you have to enter in your first name, the last name, and then the email address of the client. So I'm going to just have Kathleen. As my buyer.
And Kathleen, can you pull that information from existing contacts if you already have them in ZipForms?
Yeah, so in the I'll go back and I'll show you the parties tab, which is next to the documents tab. You should be able to put that contact information there as well.
Perfect.
Yep. So you just so you know, if you're entering in information on this page, you have to fill out the first name, last name, and email address, and then put this check in the box. It won't let you do it the other way. Pro tip. So put a check next to the box and hit close. And now you can see who is signing this document. You can change the signing order around. If you have multiple people signing a document, you can do no signing order. So basically everybody can sign it at the same time and then it comes back to you when it's finished. Otherwise, you know, if you want your clients to sign first and then you have to sign it second because it's like the buyer agency agreement, any way you want to do it, that's how you do it. Okay. And then you click next. Now this is going to bring us into DocuSign, the DocuSign platform. Okay. Ooh, this worked earlier. I'm sorry, guys. Ooh, Lindsay's, is yours working?
I will double check, but you know, this always happens when we're doing a training, right?
Yeah. I promise I was in here this morning.
Okay, let me check it. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna double check right now. Okay. All right, let's see if mine works. Yeah, looks like mine works. Oh, is yours? Oh, no, yours is working. Okay.
Okay, might have just been an internet thing. Okay, cool. So guys, if it doesn't work the first time, just try it again. All right, so this is the DocuSign platform. You'll see that like the strikeout that I put on there earlier is there. All the text that I filled out in the body of the agency agreement is there as well. On the right-hand side here, you can scroll down through the whole document so you can see each page. If you see this little like flag over here on the bottom right-hand side, that means there's some sort of signature block on that page. So I'm just going to click on page 7. And you'll see that there's automatically a signature block where the client needs to sign with a date block as well. So the date will automatically be inputted when the client hits sign. Okay. If you had more than one client, over here on the left-hand side, there's a drop down, see my name's there, but you would be able to toggle between the different clients and they would each be assigned their own color. So recipient number 2 is blue, recipient number 3 is purple. So based on the color of the recipient, the blocks are all different colors. So you'll know if you have buyer 1 signature, buyer 2 signature would be a different color block that you would have on the second line. Okay. If you needed to add something, you can. So say I missed printing their name on the bottom here underneath their signature, I can just click this name and drag it over. That'll put their full name from that contact record right here in print for me. If I forgot to fill out something, I can use a text box over here on the left-hand side. And then I can add in there whatever I need. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, quick question. If you do add a text box in at this point, like let's say hypothetically, I've got to resend that document out for some reason, is that additional text going to carry over from the first document, or would I have to then re-add that in as an additional text box?
Yeah, you'd have to re-add it in if you were to redo this piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
Yep. Or you could just go back to the original draft, and then send it back to DocuSign. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. One thing to just be aware of is sometimes on the documents, these boxes come in and they look like this, where it's just a outline around a white box. That means it's optional for your client to sign it. I would be very careful, because if it comes in as optional, they might not see it, and so they might not sign it. So I always make sure that they're marked as required, and you'll know they're marked as required because they'll be fully colored in boxes. Okay, that's just one little trick about DocuSign you should know. So this is required for them to hit the sign button in order to move forward in the process. Okay. Then when you're done, you've checked through everything looks good. On the bottom left-hand side here, it's hit send. What that's going to do is, I don't know why it's doing that, send to your client. They then will have access to it via their desktop or even their phone. They'll click through it, click all the signature fields that they need to. It'll come back to you via email. You'll get an email from ZipForms that the document's been completed. It'll be in an attached PDF in the bottom of that email, so you can just download it right from there. Or you can always log back into ZipForms and go into the signature envelope and grab it out of there as well. Okay. All right. Lindsay, I think I'm gonna send it back to you.
All right. Any questions before we dive back into command? Okay. All right, so now, I'm back at this screen in command. And once you have those signed documents, whether you downloaded them directly from ZipForm or you downloaded them from your email, once you got notified that that was signed, if you're in Google Chrome, which I always recommend you use Google Chrome, command was built on Chrome and it's going to work best in that web browser. But anytime you download documents, you'll see them in the bottom right or left-hand corner of your screen. So it's really simple just to drag and drop the document into the corresponding file placeholder. So for example, if you're in that consultation folder, if I need to add my buyer agency, see, I've downloaded that document, I'm just going to click and drag that file in there. And there it is. So I can always click on that to view the document. If I need to download it or print it from here, I have that option. All right. And same thing with any of the other folders here, the under contract folder. So again, let's say I need to add the offer to purchase. I'm going to click and drag it in there. And of course, you also have the option to hit browse. So if you have the file saved on your desktop or in a folder in your documents, you would just browse and then look through your files and upload it. So there are going to be times maybe where you have to add some additional documents. And let's say like there's another amendment or whatnot, but if you click the three dots here over on the right-hand side, you have the option to add document. And so that's going to allow you to add an additional placeholder to this section. So you can name the document type. And this document type really doesn't matter to us. You can just put other if it doesn't really correspond with any of these. You can put notes in here, but then same thing. You would literally just drag and drop the document in, hit save, and just pretend this is something different other than the offer to purchase. But then you'll see it at the very bottom of your screen listed as additional documents. And there it is. The other thing that you can do within command in this document section, you may have noticed when I click those three dots, I also have the option to split and attach a PDF. So let's say that you received back signed completed documents from a co-broke, but they attached it all in one document. You can upload that document here, hit next, and you can separate those documents out and then add and upload them into their corresponding placeholders. So what you would do is you'll see, let's just pretend this is separate documents. I know this is just the offer to purchase, but what you would do is you can go in here and let's just say, okay, here's the real estate condition report. And the real estate condition report is pages 1 through 5. I can also name it, and I'm just going to name it the record. And I can also add more pages. So if then maybe, okay, I've got pages 1 through 5 and then 6 through 10. Well, that's the addendum S. And so on and so forth. So once I'm done with that, and I've assigned all of the pages and kind of split those documents apart, then I can hit split and attach selected. So that you'll then see, I think it just takes a couple seconds here. There we go. So there's that record and there's the addendum S. So really easy tool to utilize within command. So instead of having to go in and like upload that file into, let's say, ZipForm and then split it from there and then download it and then upload it, you can do it directly in the opportunity. You also have the option to export documents. So I can go in here and select the specific documents that I want to export and download. So it's nice when you want to download multiple documents, you have that option to do so. The new thing that's part of the opportunity is that generate transaction summary. So this is really helpful when you want to just kind of download just kind of the details surrounding that transaction. So again, all you're going to do is when you're in the Documents tab, over to the right-hand side, you have Generate Transaction Summary. And it's going to give you all of the information that you can include within that summary. So if you don't have information filled out, you're not going to have the option to include it. So this is everything that I do have filled out. So I've got some key dates. I've got an opportunity checklist. So these are all things that I can include. I can also reorder this if I want, or I can uncheck certain things that I don't want to include. So then once you're happy with that, you click Generate. And then that's going to generate that summary. So you've got the name of the opportunity. You've got some of those details, the opportunity phase and stage, some of those key dates that you've entered. And then if you have any checklists set up for the opportunity, you'd be able to see all of those in there too. So this one, I don't have really anything else set up. But if you had more information entered in for the opportunity, you would see a lot more on here. But that's how you would generate that. All right, so The other thing, so really important aspect is, of course, submitting files for compliance review. So you may have noticed the moment that you uploaded documents to either the consultation or the under contract folder, this button here, submit to MC, MC stands for Market Center, that became blue. So that's now a clickable button. So that's submitting your documents for compliance review. That's notifying our compliance broker that these documents are ready for review. And what she'll do is she'll go through and just make sure everything's signed, everything's completed, the form is filled out correctly, and she'll either approve your documents or your folders, or she'll return them with a comment. And you're going to get those email notifications. And if you have the command app, you're going to get those notifications on your phone of anything that's been returned. If it's approved, it'll just say approved. You're not going to get a notification of that. But if anything is returned, you will get a notification and you're going to come back into command. And let's just say my offer to purchase got returned. It's going to show a status of either approved or returned. If it's returned, it's going to show up in red, and it's going to have a little comment box as to why it was returned. And then you can always upload something new and resubmit it. Any questions on that, on how to upload documents or submit for compliance review?
Hey, Lindsey, do you guys typically recommend that you get all of the documents in there before submitting to compliance for review, or do you submit them like as they get filled out, or I mean, what's best practice there?
Yeah, so we do have a few requirements. So for listing opportunities, we do require that that signed listing contract needs to be uploaded and submitted within 7 days. And then same thing with any accepted offers for a listing or for a buyer. We do need that opportunity submitted within 7 days of acceptance. But then everything else, I would just make sure, when in doubt, just submit it. Like the worst thing is that, you know, she might come back with like a couple comments, or maybe you're missing like the earnest money receipt. But I don't know, Kathleen, do you have any other insight on that? I know when you were actively like buyer's agent, did you have any kind of best practices for the team?
Yeah, I think you should just definitely just get like the initial offer to purchase packet uploaded, earnest money receipt, then go ahead and submit it. You might get like it returned because you didn't upload the home inspection report yet, right? Like, okay, well, that might take like 10 days. And I want to make sure that I'm at least like submitting my file now. So don't get too like caught up when things get returned to you right away like that. It's also just like a flag for the compliance department, because then they know to like check back with you, or that you have to resubmit it once it is uploaded. So
Got it.
Submitting it over and over and over again does not bug us in any way, shape, or form. So I think really best practice is to like get as much as possible within, you know, like the first week, upload it, submit it, and then just keep resubmitting it as you add more documents. So.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. So then the next thing that I'm going to go through is this offers and commissions tab. So once you do have an accepted offer, you're required to go in here and click on add new offer. So basically you're adding that accepted offer. And then once you add that, then you'll be able to manage your commission. So it'll say, what would you like to call it? You can just leave it initial offer, or you can rename it. Totally up to you on what you want to call it. There may be a case where you have the listing and you get multiple offers. There's also an opportunity for you to create or add all of the offers in here. And you can generate a offer summary so that you can send it to your clients and they can go in and review all of the offer details for each offer that they receive. But in this case, for a buyer, you just add in that initial offer, that accepted offer that you got. So I'm going to hit create offer, and it's really just going to ask you some basic details. So we've got offer date, closing date. So let's just say, okay, offer was accepted today and we're closing at the end of July. So let's do July 28th. You can add in the property. I'm just going to use. And then you're going to click over to parties. So it'll have your buyer's information, and it does require the seller's name. You can add the seller's information. It's not required, just their name is. And then of course, your name will be here under representation, and then you will need to add the co-broke. I'm just going to add co-broke. And then you'll click over to terms. So you'll enter in the cash or financing amount. Let's just make up some numbers here. Oops. 200. Earnest money. So how much earnest money are they going to put down? Let's do 2%. Don't worry so much about option fee. I don't think that really applies, right, Kathleen? Same thing with termination option, seller costs.
Yeah, this is all for other states.
Yeah. So really it's just the terms and earnest money that you're going to be entering. And then you'll click over to agent analysis. This is going to be more so pertaining to, like, if you do have multiple offers for a listing, you can add your own insight into each offer so that your client can review that as well. So you can put like pros and cons and then a summary. So that would be included in that like offer comparison. But otherwise, in this case, you probably don't need to. And then you'll hit save. All right, so once that's added, you're going to simply click on accept. Once you accept an offer, you'll notice that these buttons change, and you now have a manage commission button. This is what you're going to click on to enter in all of the information to submit your commission request. And this is essentially how you're going to get paid. So you can edit this general information here. I think this should be pretty much good to go. That's pulling from all the other details that you've entered. And then this is going to detail how much you're getting from that transaction. It'll also calculate like your royalty and your company commission, and it'll also show how close you are to capping. But if you need to add any additional like deductions, you can click on this edit agent payment. And if you scroll down, there's a section for extra payment options. So if you add item, you can choose whether it's a bonus, deduction, or referral. So let's say maybe it's a deduction. Maybe you're in the launch program. This is where you would go in and add that. Kathleen, did I explain that right?
Yeah, so if you're in the launch program, it's going to be a deduction. And yeah, it asks for the phone number and the address. You can use the office address. If you don't know the office phone number, use your own phone number. Yeah, like I end up putting my information in here more than anything just because I can't remember.
Yeah, they really don't care. It doesn't really make a difference. And then pay to would just be KW. Like if it was the launch deduction, it'd be launch, pay to KW. And then
you would have to figure out the amount though, because you're doing like a 10% payout if you're in the launch program. So you would have to figure out what 10% of the gross commission. If you kind of look right over to the left-hand side there, you can see it in the background what the agent gross commission is. So you just take that times 10%, and that's what you would put in that amount box.
Yep. So I think I did my math right. Okay. All right, and then you would add that in there. Okay, I think I got it. And then once you're done, you just hit submit. And if you need to add any notes, this is all being reviewed by our Market Center administrator. And so they're the ones who will pay you and process your commission. So if you need to add any notes pertaining to this transaction, you can certainly add those in there, and they'll see that once they review your commission. And Jen Turner actually has a commissions and command training video as well, where she goes into a little bit more detail in regards to this section. So that's uploaded to our YouTube channel. There's a specific playlist for commissions and command. So I would also check that out as well, just to get a little bit more detail. All right. Any questions on that? All right, Kathleen, did I miss anything?
Ooh, I mean, that's a lot. Yeah, so I mean, this video is going to be up on YouTube. So, you know, definitely just reference back to this if you need help with any of those steps in the process.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's, you know, ZipForm or DocuSign, or just, you know, creating the opportunity and the details, transaction summary, any of that information that we've gone over today. You know, and don't hesitate to get a hold of Lindsey or myself if, you know, you're missing a few of those pieces or need some more talk through some of it. So.
Yeah, and like I mentioned at the beginning, please play around with this and use yourself as an example. It's also really nice too to see how the email comes through as the consumer, so that you can see both sides of it, and that you can really speak to, you know, the process when you are explaining it to your clients. All right, well, thank you guys for joining us. Like Kathleen said, this is being recorded and will be uploaded. So if you ever want to refer back to it and pause it and, you know, kind of test things out on your end, this is for you to kind of use as a resource. So, but thanks
Perfect.
for